What's going on, guys? I'm Andrew.
I'm Jason.
And this is Movie Source.
Today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Beyond.
So Justin Lin directed Star Trek Beyond. Now, Justin Lin had also previously directed from the Fast and Furious franchise, from movie 3 to movie 6, and then James Wan took over for him in the 7th film. Now, I gotta say, when I had heard that Justin Lin had been brought on, I was actually kind of excited about it, but I was also a little sad because I was a big J.J. Abrams fan for the first two films for Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. But I understood why J.J. couldn't do this. He had just done Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
And he's still executively produced
and he's still producing this film. We saw Bad Robot was one of the production companies. So I was happy J.J. was still back, and I did like a lot what Justin did with the 5th and 6th installments of the Fast and Furious franchise. Those films were a lot of fun. After seeing the first trailer for this film, I definitely, with the Sabotage song all across the trailer, some of the footage definitely looked interesting from an action perspective, but just from a narrative perspective, and just, you know, it looked like a music video. It just didn't have that Star Trek feel to it that J.J. Abrams had established in the first two films. And I don't know. Again, like I said, I was feeling a little skeptical from that first trailer, and I didn't even watch the trailers after that because I knew I was still going to see this because I was so invested in these characters from the first two films. But I didn't even care to see any more of the trailers after that first one because I was not into it after that first one. And I gotta say, Justin Lin was absolutely the right man to direct this, and he delivered. It kind of felt a little bit to me like the Russo brothers in terms of I'm skeptical about them taking over the Captain America franchise, and then within 5 to 10 minutes after seeing the film, going into the film, like, this is the right guy. So I was happy to see he delivered.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this movie too. It started out a little bit slow, but that didn't even bother me. I was pretty invested in the story. Obviously, we've known these characters for 2 movies, so you're invested in them, but I thought right from the beginning I was loving this movie all the way through. I really had nothing bad to say about it at all.
Yeah, definitely. And what this movie does in amazing... First of all, we got to give Simon Pegg some praise. His script, he did...
Yeah.
When I had heard he was going to be the writer, I knew there's definitely going to be some jokes.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely going to be jokes in here, and I hope they all land. And I got to say, they all landed for me. I can't think of one joke or something that was happening on screen that was meant to make us laugh. I'm like, that's not funny. That's completely forced humor. It was all so organic, and each character had their chance to shine with a funny moment or two.
And there were levels of jokes too. Some that just had me cracking up, and some just with a little chuckle, and some that was a little more subtle. So like it was still funny throughout, but then there were some jokes that were just really funny, and some that just, you know, within the storyline, just like making you laugh here and there.
I agree with you. But what Simon Pegg did such an amazing job. He did a great job of balancing between the two tones of being funny and also being serious and keeping the stakes up when they need to be. Because even though you know most of and we'll get into it when we talk about spoilers in a second, even though you know most of the crew is going to survive, when you're in the film watching it, you feel the stakes are so high. And again, it's like I said, there are a lot of funny moments that break the tension, of course. But again, you still feel such a sense of danger, and that the stakes are so high for these characters that we've grown to love from these first 2 films. So I just thought Simon Pegg and Justin Lin just did such a masterful job of really making you feel emotionally invested in these characters while feeling the sense of danger for them at the same point. So I just thought brilliant job from that perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I thought the first Star Trek was all about the story. I mean, the action was fine, but it wasn't standout. And then the second one had great action, but the story suffered a little bit.
Lacking.
This one was like a combination of both, a perfect marriage of those two things. I mean, story mixed with the action, and like you said, the writing and the humor, it just all worked.
Absolutely. And we got to mention the chemistry between all the crew. I mean, look, Spock and Kirk, Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, their chemistry is fantastic. They're terrific. But the crew as a whole, when they're all together on screen, whether it's Bones and Spock or Kirk and Chekhov or whoever, when they're all together, they work so seamlessly and organically as a team. You really buy it. Like, these guys have been on missions for years, and they're truly on working for the Enterprise, and they know a thing or two about space. You really buy it, and they sell it so well. And again, the chemistry between all... This could be a terrible movie from a narrative perspective. I would still enjoy all the performances and the chemistry between all the crew. It's incredible. I love watching every scene I get to see of them, whether they're working out a problem or, as you mentioned, the organic humor that we see throughout the film. I love seeing this crew together, and I gotta say, every second I was watching of Anton Yelchin in this film as Chekhov, first of all, he was brilliant and amazing. I'm not saying that because he passed away. I'm saying it because it's the truth. But also watching him on screen, made me beyond sad. It had the Paul Walker effect, just watching him the whole time. It made me sad knowing we never get to see this character again. And I believe they just mentioned, J.J. Abrams said a few days ago that they are not going to recast Chekhov, and I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
I believe in the next film, just say he went off on another mission and or went to see his family, whatever. You can make up something like that pays respect. Don't go the Jaws the Revenge route and say, Brody died from fear of the shark or something very disrespectful to the character in that way. So I know J.J. Abrams and whoever directs the next film, hopefully Justin Lin, whoever does it will pay respect to his character, because I gotta say, they gave his character, not going to spoiler anything, but they gave his character a lot more to do, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's definitely more standout in this movie.
I like Chekhov so much in this film. So.
And it was cool, too, because they have all these characters to work with. They kind of split them off into twos during one section of the movie.
Absolutely.
Like, there's literally like 3 or 4 groups of 2 of them, and you're all, so much is happening, but you're just wanting to know what happens in each group. So I thought that was a really cool sequence.
Yeah. Not
giving anything away, but it's really, like, once the movie starts picking up, it really picks up.
Yeah. One of the last things we want to mention on our non-spoiler review, if you're gonna have a movie be really good, you got to have a great villain. And I got to say, I really enjoyed Idris Elba as
really
Crawl.
Yep.
So I thought he was menacing, he was calculating, he was cold. And again, he really made you feel that sense of danger for the other crew members. Like, he could really kill any one of these members, like, and in cold blood. You're not sure who it could be. So, like I said, his performance he really dominates the screen, Idris Elba, anytime. Whether it's a voice of a tiger in Jungle Book, or a voice of a seal in Finding Dory, or in this case, as an alien, right? So. Just again, I thought he was menacing, cold, calculating. He is just brilliant. Anytime we watch Idris Elba, ever since Thor, seeing him as Heimdall, I've been a big fan of his, and he just continues to keep making me go, wow, this guy is incredible.
And I also gotta say, the visual effects and camera work in this movie is really good too.
Absolutely, good call.
CGI was really well done. Even when there's a CGI fest, it looks great. So many ships like in space and stuff. And then the visual effects too, like with the costumes of the villains and all that. And then there's some really great shots with the camera too.
Absolutely.
Just great cinematography. It really puts you in that mindset. I really enjoyed that.
I just want to say one thing. I'm so glad you mentioned that. Justin Lin, and I didn't really look to see who the director of photography was for this film, but both of them deserve high praise. Some of the camera shots and the POV shots,
good.
I truly felt I was in space. I can only imagine in 3D some of those shots must have been amazing, but I truly felt I was in space on some of these shots with, and again, not going spoilers, but some of them where you see the ship pulling out, like you got a camera view right on top of the ship, where it's like, whoa, it's like, it was incredible, the camera work in this film. And again, Justin Lin and whoever the director of photography in this film, high praise. That was fantastic.
Alright guys, we're going to talk some spoilers now, so if you don't want to have anything spoiled, click the link right here, and we'll skip you to the end of the video.
Alright, so as Jason just mentioned, we are now in the spoiler portion of this. There were definitely some interesting plot points that I thought. I loved at the beginning where Kirk, he wasn't sure if he still wanted to be the captain of the Enterprise, and also Spock had just found out that Ambassador Spock had passed away. Obviously, with Leonard Nimoy being dead in real life, they had to, close that chapter of this character in this new version. So, his character obviously was really emotionally hurt by that. Understandably so. That's the older version of himself, and also the only remains of really left of Vulcans, and that's basically his friend and himself, and also that's his encyclopedia and his knowledge to the Vulcan world, the world that he no longer knows anymore. So it was very emotional for Spock, and he didn't even know if he wanted to be on in the Enterprise anymore, because he needed to take over the duties of Ambassador Spock and honor him. So I thought that was very interesting how they were going that, and then on the elevator, Kirk and Spock, they're kind of trying to tell each other.
I was gonna say, I just love the scenes where like they're just so awkward, and because Spock is just so awkward too. You just don't really know how to talk to each other, but they're still conveying the same message at the same time, and they both kind of know just because they feel each other. I also like the introduction of the character Jayla. She had some pretty cool like hologram fighting things going on in her camouflage of the ship. I just thought she was a cool character, that she played well with Simon Pegg, and she was blasting that music that she liked. So.
Yeah, no, and also I like how she took a lot of things literally, like when he said, no, Scotty, and then she's like, all right, Montgomery, Scotty, and then like just like stuff like that, and the way she spoke.
Almost like Drax a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like Drax, but she was definitely a little bit higher IQ than Drax. But in terms of the literal, I feel you. But like I said, or like Jason said, she had some cool camouflage equipment. Like she was
awesome.
Really a cool character, the way she was presented to us, the way she fought, she was a badass. Like within 5 5 minutes, you were really emotionally invested in this brand new character. I thought they did a great job introducing her, and the actress Sophia, I forgot her last name, but she was in Kingsman. She's fantastic. I really enjoyed her performance. And I like seeing her as we saw at the end, she's now accepted into the Academy. So clearly they're setting up her character to be part of the crew for hopefully the next film. You know, I did think it was interesting, though. They didn't have, from Star Trek Into Darkness, what was her name? Peter Weller's daughter from the film,
Right.
Alice Eve, was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
She's just gone with no explanation. I thought there was, like, going to be a romantic link between her and Kirk, like, coming into this film, but she's just gone and no explanation, no nothing. So I thought that was a little weird and interesting at the same time. But like I said, I like this character, Jayla, was it? Jayla, I like her, you know, being the new, because, you know, there's usually 2 women in the group with the Enterprise, well, at least from movie 2 on. So I guess she's like kind of the replacement. But I did enjoy the performance. I liked the character. She was a badass. All her cloaking equipment was so cool, and you really bought her motivation in the film. It made sense. Like, she'd lost, you know, her father and her family, so it made sense why she wanted to get the heck out of that planet. All she knew was death and mayhem and sadness in that planet. So I bought her motivations totally, and her character I really enjoed the introduction.
Yeah, I also really like the villain, Krall. Like, his motivations weren't really clear at the beginning. Until the very end, but then when you find that out, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and that's actually really cool. And I just thought his fighting scenes were good. Like I said, his motivation was really good, and he was pretty menacing too. Idris Elba always does a good job playing a villain with that gruff voice and just kind of large demeanor. So.
No, definitely. Absolutely, I agree. And like I said in the non-spoiler part of this review, if I'm going to really love a movie, I have to like the bad guy too. And while I hate what he's doing to our characters and to the planet, you buy his motivation and you understand why he's doing what he does. And I think the scariest villains aren't ones who just want to destroy things just for the hell of it. They're ones who who think they're actually doing what is right in their mind.
At least in their mind, or for what they want.
Yeah, that's what I just said. What in their mind they feel is right, and that makes him even more scarier. And again, you saw what this character, he felt he was abandoned by the Federation.
Yeah,
and so, you know, he has a personal vendetta against him, and you understood why in this film. So, like I said, I thought Idris was fantastic. I thought Simon Pegg wrote the character really well.
Really good.
And again, I loved how cold and calculating and menacing and scary he was, and how much he felt like he could kill any one of the crew members at any point. All right, so as I said, this film definitely took me by surprise, and, you know, the trailers made me have a little bit more of a low expectation. It just took it to a whole new level. I enjoyed every performance I saw. I can't think of any weak performance. I can't really think of many things to criticize about this film in general, from narrative to humor to CGI, to action, to understanding the villain's motivations or any of the characters' motivations. It hit every mark for me that I wanted it to hit in a Star Trek film, and I just found myself enjoying everything that I was seeing from, like I said, from the CGI, the action, the chemistry between all the actors, and the direction, and some of the camera work in this film is just outstanding. I'm giving Star Trek Beyond a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo exactly what you said. 9 out of 10 for me. Like you said, nothing I can really bad to say about this movie, and it's just one of those movies where you have a good time when you're at the theater watching the movie.
Very
really entertaining, funny, fun, good action, good story, good dialogue, good characters. So 9 out of 10 for me. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about this movie in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.